Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we have our edit page here. Only thing one missing here is our CSRF code. So let's make that happen. So we'll go to Plugins, Users Manager, Views, and we'll go to Edit. So within the form, that's actually the thing. I didn't ensure we have a form here. So what I want to do is within this, I will add a form method post, and please make sure you put the enc type as well, and you say multi-part / form dash data. I hope that's how it's written. Alright, so we need this encoding type whenever we are uploading images. So I'm going to remove this closing form tag and just add it right at the end here to match. And then I will tab everything in like so. Alright. Alrighty then. So that works. And then within here, I will now put my PHP tags. In fact, I'll just echo CSRF and close that. But this is a function, so don't forget the open and closing bracket like so. Alrighty then, let's get back here and I'll refresh. Why did that happen? What's going on here? Wait a second. Right. Because I've put this within the thing. Okay, let me move this out instead. So I'm going to tab this like so. I could just move these classes to the form. That would do the same thing essentially, but let's try to put them on the outside like this and see if it still looks as intended. And there it is. Okay, so that still works, which is great. So now we also need to be able to click on this and add an image, right? So let's get back here. So what I want to do with this is hide it within a label. So what I could do is convert this to a label. Actually, I can do that. Now the reason a label is good is because whenever you click on a label, it clicks everything inside it. So now I can actually add an input of type file and give it a name of image over here, and then at the same time I could add a class of dNone, that's display none if you're using actual styles and not Bootstrap. So dNone name image, that's great. So now if I come back and refresh and click on this thing, it now opens up this thing, the file selector. So let's put a cursor on this thing. I'm gonna let's put that right here on the styles. We'll say cursor pointer like so. That way a user knows that they can actually click on this thing here to add an image. Alright, so that seems to be great. Now if you click save here, it should submit the record. So let's make sure that that part works. Now I have used Ajax in some other tutorials where at least we can put a progress bar for you to see the upload process, because whenever there's an image in the upload process, it tends to take a little bit of time sometimes. So it would be good to use Ajax and just have a scroll bar down here, or not a scroll bar, but a progress bar to show us how far that's gone. But if there's time, once we finish this, we could convert that to Ajax. For now, this is fine. So if I now go to my controllers, actually, let me go to the plugin. So in the plugin, we have this section here that shows us the what's happening here. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so there is this part where there's delete and there's view. In all of these, we still need this row to be added, right? So I'm gonna grab this instead so that I don't have to copy it to all of these. I will do this, take it back here for a second, do that, okay, but then I will simply just do it from here. So I'll do this, and then I'll put an if statement and say if id, like so. Okay, so if id, then let's grab a row. For as long as id is set, let's try and do that. That way we will cover for the add. We don't need it on the add, we need it on the edit, delete, and view, but like this we use less code. Here we need something different. Okay, now in a similar manner we could do the same thing for the controller side, so that we show the right controller at the right time. Or if you want, you can just use one file as a controller for all of them and just put an if statement for each version. The same thing we've done here, you could put an if statement in the controller itself instead. But let's follow what we've done here. So I'm just gonna grab this up to there, plugin route, and post it. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this. Let's come to this location and let's add some more stuff here, and I'm going to paste like so. Now instead of views, we're going into controllers this time to load files. So I'm going to grab this views here and replace with controllers. Now when we are listing, we don't need any of this. Even when on the view, we don't need. We just need when we are adding, editing, and deleting for it to make sense. So I'm going to delete these two, like so. Okay, so here what I'll do again is copy the word controller, and at the end of this I will put dash controller like that, and remove this one here like so. Okay, so in this case the only time we don't need row is when we are on add, but here and here we do need row, but so we will just leave it as it is like that. But let's make the right controllers over here. So click on controller, and let me rename this guy. So since we have the edit one, I'll start with edit dash controller, like so. Okay, so now I'm going to go back again to plugin. Now we do have this request core. The reason we need this outside is because we're using it over here. But if it's confirmed that something was posted and we are down here, it would be nice to actually get the session variable loaded as well. So I'm gonna do core, and session like that. Now the reason we need session, we need the current user data to know whether this user either is allowed to do these things, or when saving, we save their ID as well. Alright, so let's see here. Wait, edit, delete. Actually, we don't need this. Anyway, if we don't use it, we can delete it. For now, let's leave it be. So what I want to do is go to the edit controller. I already know at this point we have all we need. We have a row. Okay. So let's go like this. So if everything goes well, we're supposed to redirect the user back to where they're supposed to be. So we'll say if not empty, row, like that, okay, because we need that. So if row is not empty, which means everything went well. And what do we do now? So in editing, we will grab our data. So whatever data was sent there, we want to replace. So I'll do this. I'll say post data is equal to request post. So that's all the post data. And then we will need a user. So that's what we really need here. So let me duplicate that. And I'm going to say user. Where did we load this before? Yeah, right there. So I'm going to grab this and let's put that over here like so. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to say user and say update. And what I'm updating is the post data, like so. Now, there are things we need to be careful about because, for example, the password. So we'll say if empty if the password is empty. So what we need to do here is, actually this was supposed to be post data, sorry. These are arrays here. Now I don't want to say if, okay, if empty post data and is set, because empty can check for is set and empty at the same time. So if it's empty, but we need to still be sure if it is set, like that. So if empty password and is set, but I think it's better to check for is set first, then we can ignore the other one if it's not set at all. But from the, yeah, no, let's just do this. So if it's set and it's empty, then you have to unset it like that. Okay, so what this is doing is we told the user that leave the password system, the password input empty if you don't want to change the password. So that way that works there. And also we need to be able to validate. So let's do user validate insert, or no, update. So here we'll put post data as well, like that. Now there's something we added here in the model, user model here. If we go down to the validate update, we check, let's see, if email is set, we actually do check, wait, do we? Wait a second. Email not. On this one, we add a primary key there. So which is the ID? So if the primary key exists, so we need to supply that in order for this thing to work properly. So we do have the ID, so we can actually do that. If empty, not empty, password, okay. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is to post data, I will add an ID. So say post data is equal to, now in this case, the ID will come from the row. So we'll say row ID like so. Sorry about that. Let's make sure we are adding to the right thing. So post data ID is equal to row ID. That way when we are validating, we can actually use it in the validation process. And the reason we need it in the validation process is so that it tells us if another person apart from ourselves is using that email address. Let me push this in there as well. So once we add that, we should also add the date updated. So post data date updated should now be equal to date, and then let's put our YMDHIS. Okay, so now we know when it was updated, and then finally add that to the list. Okay, I think that actually does the job. Now if for some reason the validation failed, we will have to create errors. So let me come back to the plugin here. So there's get value. In order to take our what we need downstairs there, we need to put that inside errors. So say set value errors, like so, and that value will come from the user errors, like that. But if everything goes well, we're going to redirect. Yeah, now at this point, let's see, on the plugin here, we have vars over here. Let me just copy these guys and put them here, because it's much easier to use these variables here. So we have admin route and the plugin route. So we'll say redirect to admin route. Let's do this. Okay. So the admin route, and then we put our slash, and then plugin route. All right. And then we concatenate again a slash edit over here. Now this depends. Do you want to get back to, do you want to go to the view? Do you want to go back to the edit? Whatever it is, it depends what you want. But I think the view is the right place to go, so that you view the user after. And then here, of course, we will put that row ID like that. And then we do need our message over there to say record edited successfully, exclamation point. All right, so if I haven't missed anything, this should be the end of it all. Now, it's possible that we don't find the item in the database. So maybe if we come down here, just a second, record edited. At any point, if everything goes well, we should never get to this area here. So maybe we could put a message down here. Record not found. If we do get to this point here, then something is wrong. We send that message, record not found. All right, so let's try an edit of this and see what goes on. So I'm just going to add some numbers here. I want to see some errors, right? So I'm going to hit save. Okay, so it says record not found, which is not true, I guess. Undefined array key email on 113. Okay, so let's check what's going on there in the user update thing. So that's on 113. email. Okay, so email should exist, right? So let's come back to the edit.php. Let's look at the names of these things. So we have our image, we have first name, last name. Do we have a name here? Great. Yeah, actually we forgot the email entirely here. So first name, last name, there is mail. So we have a pair finally here. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this part here. Duplicate. Alright, so with this I can put inside a div. Let me put this inside a div as well. That way these are together, the gender and the email. Then let me change this to email. Type email. And this as well should change to email. Let me change all of these references like that. Okay. Goody. So if I now refresh, do not resend, let's just refresh. And there we go. So we have email and gender over here. So let me grab this label as well to match that other side, and let me put that inside gender like so, and let's refresh. Okay, so an email we have now, and we have that as well, which is great. Let's add some numbers over here and let's hit save again. So it says record not found, which is not true. Let me come back here. So it shows that what we really needed for here was an else statement, like so. Okay. What else? So the validation probably failed over here, and if I come back to edit, we are not showing any errors here. Now we also need to validate the CSRF. So what I would do is, let's go back to basic auth here. Let me look at my signup view. If I come here, there are parts which have error reporting here. So I'm going to grab this error thingy here, come back to edit, and I'll go on this one. Maybe I can put this over here, like so. And yep, that's first name. So let's see if our error will find us over here. Okay, so we don't get that error message at all. Empty errors, first name. Okay, we do need errors plugin. So the views are down here. We know that errors is inside vars. Okay. So how do we do this? Okay, so we need to set it somewhere here. So what I would do is go here. I will duplicate this. I will say errors is equal to vars errors, but it's possible it may not exist, so let's set it to an empty array like so if it doesn't. Okay, again we resend, and there we go. So at least we're getting an error now, only letters with no spaces allowed in first name. Okay, so you can edit your messages to suit what you want. That's entirely up to you. Let me remove this padding over here. I don't need it. Let's come back and see that again. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm gonna grab this and add it to the others. So paste, and instead of first, let's change to last name over here. So I'm gonna duplicate and put last underscore. And let's come back here and use the same technique for email. Let's change that to email. And let's do exactly the same thing for gender as well. I'm gonna move this and say gender. And one more for password here. We don't need each to be on both passwords. Just one of these will do. Alrighty then, so let's try again. So this is the error we have here. If I do some numbers over here as well, we will have the same thing here. Okay, so error reporting is working just fine. Now let's allow it to save and see what happens. Let me move this last name. I'll put an extra E at the end, and let's see how that works. And I'll hit save. Okay, so it went to the update. It says argument 1 must be of type string, array was given. So that's my bad. If we go back to the controller, when we're updating, we should provide the ID. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. Copy like so. Alrighty then. So let's get back and refresh. Let's try again. Okay, good. So things are working because we've gone to our view version of things. So you can tell something is right there. Okay, something going on. Users manager. It couldn't find the view file.php. So that's okay. Here when we view the data, it doesn't seem to have changed at all. So let me click edit again. E. Let's try this one more time. Save. Okay, back. Okay, so things are not changing. Things are not changing at all. So user update. So something is going on here. So what I'm going to do is let's do dd post data. So I just want us to see what's going on there and put die so that we exit. And let's try one more time to edit. And let's put an E. Let's save. Okay, so this is what we get. So for now we're ignoring this, but this is the data we are getting here. There's even an ID over there. And then date updated. That's great. So everything seems to be going well. Retype password, that's empty. Okay, so this will be ignored, which is fine. So why isn't it working? Everything here seems okay. Okay, let's go ahead and check. Maybe there's something we're missing in our database. So we go to PHP MyAdmin and let's check that out. Okay, so post data is fine. This update row ID. Post data. Okay. Now everything seems fine here. So what I want to do is go to plugin PHP DB. Let's go to users. Okay, so is there something wrong here? No, that's the correct ID. Why is it failing to update? Now, sometimes failure to update could be because there's no default value in certain columns. So let's go ahead and check here. Date created has a default value of null, so that's fine. Deleted has 0. So we do have no values set as default for all of these, so this should work as intended. Maybe let's remove the ID. Maybe trying to replace the ID is the problem. So what I'm going to do here is let's unset the ID because we are adding it here to post data. But before we save, maybe let's remove it from post data. So unset post data ID like so. So let's try that. I'm not really sure if that is the issue for real. Let me go back to browse, and nothing has changed at all. So we're still having issues here. Yeah, that I do not understand. Okay, so this is the first time we are using our update function. So to really figure out if it's working or not, it could be our update function with a problem. So let's go to app models, and where is actually core model. So here is where our update function is. So could be we have a problem here. So this is where we're doing our query from. So what I can do here is just echo out the query itself. So I just say echo query, or I could use dd query. Alright, then let's die over there so that we end there and see what's going on. So I'll put an extra E over here, and then let's hit save. So now we see what issues come up. So for example, undefined variable my ID on line 112. So usually when you sort out one error, it fixes whatever comes next. But here let's look at what's going on. Update users. Also, there's a set missing here, and then my ID anyway is not defined. So let's go 112 here. Let's see what that error is all about. So 112 is here. So this is unknown. How come? Ah, right. Because this one has an underscore and this one does not. So let's put an underscore on this one. Let's try this again. Okay, so that's better, but we're missing the set here. So let me come over here, update this, and then we say set like that. Okay, now I can remove this to try and see if things work out well. So refresh and resend. Let's get back, and you see now the update has actually worked. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that the edit works, let's deal with the others.